You've felt this before, haven't you? That strange flicker, that split second when reality folds in on itself. You're standing in a room you've never seen, yet somehow, you know exactly where everything is. A cup on the table, the hum of a refrigerator, someone laughing in the other room, and suddenly your chest tightens, because you swear you've been here before. You brush it off, of course. Just déjà vu, you tell yourself. But for a moment, you can't shake the feeling that life is repeating. Not like a memory, more like a glitch in the universe itself. The truth is, it's one of the most unsettling experiences a human can have, because it challenges something we almost never question: the linearity of time. Scientists have studied this phenomenon for decades. Some say déjà vu is nothing but a memory error, your brain mistaking the present for the past, a misfire in the hippocampus where memory is born. But others aren't so sure, because sometimes déjà vu happens in places you couldn't possibly know, and sometimes it happens before something extraordinary occurs. Let me give you a simple example. You walk into a cafe you've never been to, yet you already know what the barista is about to say. They drop a spoon, clatters exactly as you expected. Then a woman in red walks past the window, and you remember that too, except you couldn't have. You sit there frozen, your coffee trembling in your hands, and for a few seconds, time feels like it's looping. Then it stops. Everything returns to normal, but something deep inside whispers, what if it wasn't a mistake? Modern neuroscience tells us déjà vu is the brain misfiring, a false overlap between short-term and long-term memory. Your mind accidentally files the present moment into the already happened folder. Simple enough, right? Except, it doesn't explain why it feels so cosmic. Because it doesn't just feel like remembering, it feels like recognizing a moment from another existence. Now imagine this. Every decision you make splits reality. 1,000 tiny branches of existence spreading from every choice. In one, you took that job. In another, you never met the person you love. And in one small, almost invisible strand of time, you are here watching this video, remembering something your other self already lived. That some scientists believe is déjà vu, a momentary echo between two versions of you. And what's stranger is that déjà vu often occurs in times of stress, fatigue, or transition, when your consciousness is stretched thin, as if the veil between timelines becomes fragile, and something slips through. You might call it coincidence. You might call it mystery. But what if it's a message, not from the past, but from yourself in another line of time? Think about it. You never remember déjà vu as it happens. You feel it. The body knows before the mind catches up, almost like instinct or warning. Maybe it's your soul remembering something your brain can't yet understand. For centuries, philosophers believed memory isn't just stored in the brain. They called it anamnesis, the memory of the soul. Plato once said, "All learning is remembering." Perhaps déjà vu is the soul trying to remind you of something you've already lived. Not in this life, but another. Science can't fully explain it. Religion tries to define it. And philosophy worships it. Because déjà vu sits right at the edge of everything we know, where memory meets mystery, and where the past might not be behind us, but all around us. So the next time it happens, when you feel that strange pulse of familiarity, that impossible recognition of a moment repeating, don't ignore it. Maybe, just maybe, it's the universe whispering, you've already lived this moment. Pause for a second. Look around you. The light falling on your desk. The way your fingers rest on the screen. Tell me honestly, does this feel familiar? That shiver in your spine when you know somehow you've already been here. The same smell in the air. The same words forming in your throat before you speak them. You can't explain it. You just know. You whisper to yourself, déjà vu. But what if that tiny flicker in your brain isn't a glitch? What if it's proof of something far stranger? Something that hints you might have already lived this life, once, twice, maybe countless times before. Think back. When was the last time it happened? A place you'd never visited, yet your heart moved like it remembered every corner. A conversation you knew word for word before it happened. A decision you felt you'd already made. You laugh it off, right? Just the brain playing tricks. But here's a question for you. and I want you to answer it in the comments when this ends. Do you feel déjà vu more when you're happy, or when you're lost? When life feels still, or when you're standing at a crossroads? Because scientists notice something, it doesn't strike at random. It visits us in moments of uncertainty, when the future is about to change. Researchers once called it temporal lobe misfiring. The hippocampus, the place that turns moments into memories, accidentally lights up twice. The second spark makes the present feel like a replay. Perfect, tidy explanation. Except it doesn't feel like electricity. It feels like recognition. It feels personal, spiritual. So the question becomes, why does the universe let you glimpse a memory from a moment that hasn't happened yet? Picture this. A man walks down a street he's never seen before. The bricks, the smell of bread, the sound of a dog barking 3 alleys away. Every detail hits him with that eerie familiarity. He freezes. He knows what's about to happen. A bicycle will fall. A woman will shout. A feather will drift across his path. And it all happens. Exactly. He checks his pulse, his watch, his sanity. But what if it wasn't prediction? What if it was recognition of a path he already walked in another strand of reality? Modern physics whispers something even more unsettling. Every choice you make doesn't erase the others, it multiplies them. Infinite realities, each only a hair's width apart. And every so often, 2 versions of you touch. For a second, consciousness slides across the seam of worlds, and you feel that echo. That's déjà vu. Collision between timelines. But then again, maybe it's not about physics at all. Maybe it's about memory itself. The ancients believed memory lived not in the brain, but in the soul. They called it anamnesis, remembering what the soul already knows. Plato said all learning is remembering. Perhaps déjà vu is your soul leaning forward, saying, "You've been here. Listen carefully this time. Think about when it strikes. In moments of love, in moments of danger, when you're standing somewhere between fear and beauty." Maybe the universe uses déjà vu as punctuation, a cosmic underline saying, "Pay attention. This matters." Some scientists ran an experiment. They placed volunteers in a virtual maze, a world the participants had never seen. Then, without warning, they reshaped it, moved walls, changed doors. And then, it happened. The volunteers began to report déjà vu. Not from memory, but from the feeling that they'd once known the way. Their brains, even in artificial worlds, tried to stitch reality together. They built memory where none existed, because the human mind, above all, craves continuity, cannot bear the thought of now being the only moment that exists. Tell me, what if déjà vu isn't the brain breaking? What if it's the universe repairing? Tiny fractures in time, stitched together by awareness itself. A gentle reset so that all your versions stay in tune. Maybe that's why it feels peaceful. Afterward, like the world sighs and continues. Or maybe it's a warning, a chance you missed before, a reminder whispered by fate. This time, choose differently. Have you ever noticed that right after déjà vu you hesitate even for a second before speaking or turning? That's your intuition tugging at you from another path. One that already saw the outcome. Here's a question for you. Write it in the comments when this video ends. What if déjà vu isn't happening to you, but because of you? What if the universe only echoes in the presence of awareness? As if it's asking you, do you recognize this place? Do you recognize yourself? Because maybe you do. Maybe this moment isn't new. Maybe you, sitting here, hearing these words, have already done this once before, in another version of your life on another night when the world was slightly different. And maybe, this time you'll notice. So next time that wave of familiarity hits, don't just shrug it off. Close your eyes. Listen, because the universe might be repeating itself just long enough for you to remember who you are. Now I want to know, where are you right now? What time is it where you are watching this? And when was the last time you felt déjà vu? Tell me in the comments. Let's see how many of us have shared the same moment in different lives. When scientists first tried to understand déjà vu, they called it false memory. But the more they looked, the stranger it became. They discovered that during déjà vu, your brain isn't confused. It's hyper-aware, Functional MRI scans showed that when déjà vu strikes, the brain areas linked to memory checking, not memory creation, start to glow. The brain is literally fact-checking reality, as if it's saying, "This has happened before, hasn't it?" And for a split second, it can't find an answer. That hesitation, that millisecond between knowing and not knowing, is where mystery lives. It's not your mind failing you. It's your consciousness catching up to itself. In 2016, a team at the University of St. Andrews did something fascinating. They tried to trigger déjà vu. Volunteers were shown word lists: bed, pillow, dream. Then they were asked if a word like sleep had appeared before. Even when it hadn't, many subjects felt the echo, the sense of knowing. That moment, they said, felt identical to déjà vu. But nothing about it was real. The researchers realized something terrifyingly beautiful. Your brain doesn't just store memories, it simulates them. Like an artist painting over a blank wall, it creates familiarity where there should be none, just to protect your sense of continuity. And this is where science stumbles into philosophy. Because if the brain can create familiarity, can it also create reality? You see, everything you know, your room, your city, your entire life, exists only as electrical patterns. The world you see is a private simulation. So when déjà vu happens, maybe it's not an error in memory. Maybe it's a glitch in the simulation, a tiny ripple where two frames of consciousness overlap. Have you ever noticed that déjà vu often hits when you're exhausted? Or dreaming while awake? It's when your brain drifts between two modes, recording and replaying. It's like accidentally pressing record over your own memories. So what if this whole life, every step, every face, every heartbreak, is the universe replaying itself through you until it gets the moment right? Some quantum physicists even believe the past and future aren't separate. Time, they say, isn't a line, it's a field. When you remember the past, your neurons form a pattern. When you imagine the future, that same pattern lights up. Memory and imagination, identical twins of the same process. That means every time you recall a moment, you are reshaping both yesterday and tomorrow. Maybe déjà vu is the moment when your brain notices that overlap, when memory and possibility become indistinguishable. You've probably felt it in the small moments. Reaching for a door handle, saying a friend's name, walking into sunlight. It's never in grand events. It's always in the ordinary. Maybe because truth hides in the small things. Maybe déjà vu is the universe whispering, "You're exactly where you're meant to be." Or maybe, and this is the unsettling thought, it's saying, "You've been here before, but you didn't listen last time." There's a theory called the holographic principle. It suggests that the entire universe, everything you see, might be a projection from a two-dimensional surface, like light cast from a cosmic film reel. If that's true, then déjà vu could be when two frames of that film briefly overlap, two versions of the same moment playing at once. That overlap feels like recognition, but what you're recognizing might not be from this timeline. You know what's fascinating? People who experience frequent déjà vu are often the most self-reflective. They think deeply, they question more. They live in what philosophers call the metastate, aware not only of what's happening, but of themselves experiencing it. So déjà vu could be consciousness realizing its own loop, a mirror moment between thought and existence. And that's where science meets something ancient, the idea that awareness itself shapes reality. In Hindu philosophy, they call it Maya, the illusion of separateness. In Buddhism, they call it samsara, the endless cycle of birth, death, and return. And in neuroscience, it's called pattern completion. Different languages for the same mystery. Your mind seeks wholeness. It fills in gaps so that reality never feels broken. But what if déjà vu is your soul remembering that it's infinite, that it's seen this before, not in one lifetime, but across many? Have you ever met someone for the first time and felt like you've known them forever? Their eyes, their laughter, instantly familiar. As if some hidden part of you exhaled and said, "Finally." What if déjà vu is the same, but instead of a person, it's a moment recognizing you? Maybe you don't relive your memories. Maybe your memories relive you. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think before you answer in the comments. If déjà vu is the feeling of having lived a moment before, what if the next time you feel it, you're not remembering, you're being remembered by the universe? Science can map the neurons, can measure the pulses, but it can't measure the meaning. Meaning lives between moments, in the way your heart skips before an answer, in how your breath changes when something feels known but forgotten. Maybe that's where the real science is hiding, in the intersection between emotion and energy, memory and time. What if déjà vu is your mind whispering that time isn't moving forward at all, but folding like a page in a book, and every once in a while 2 sentences touch? That's when you feel it, that shiver of recognition, that quiet smile that says, I've read this before. And if that's true, maybe déjà vu isn't strange at all. Maybe it's the most natural thing in existence, a gentle reminder that consciousness is vast, and you are part of something looping, learning, and eternal. So tell me, do you remember the first time you felt déjà vu? What were you doing? Were you alone? Or with someone you love? And did it change the way you saw time afterward? Write it in the comments. Maybe when you scroll through, you'll see a stranger describe the same moment as yours, and feel that echo once again. When you dream, your mind doesn't follow the laws of physics. It folds space, blurs identity, rewinds time. And yet, when you wake, you believe that dream was real for a heartbeat. What if déjà vu is that heartbeat, leaking into waking life? Scientists in France once studied what they called déjà rêvé, already dreamed. Volunteers described moments in real life that matched dreams they couldn't recall until that instant. Not coincidence, but recurrence. Reality catching up to imagination. If that's true, then perhaps dreams aren't fiction. They're rehearsals. And when a scene finally unfolds as it did in your mind, that flicker of recognition isn't memory. It's alignment. In Japan, neuroscientists discovered something remarkable about the hippocampus, the brain's memory gatekeeper. When a mouse sleeps, its neurons replay the day's experiences, like a recording being rewound. But sometimes the sequence reverses. The mouse dreams backward. The brain isn't remembering the past. It's preparing the future. Now imagine this happening not in a mouse, but in you. Every night, your brain quietly edits the film of your life, cutting, rearranging, re-recording. And when the future moment finally matches one of those unconscious edits, you feel it. That strange pulse. That breath of, I've been here before. Maybe you weren't remembering it. Maybe it was remembering you. There's an experiment few people talk about. In 2019, researchers at MIT created a simulation where artificial neural networks could predict frames of video before they appeared. After enough training, the AI began to hallucinate reality, seeing what wasn't there yet because it had seen enough to expect it. The scientists said something chilling. The model begins to dream ahead. Now imagine consciousness doing the same. You've lived enough moments, felt enough patterns, that your mind doesn't wait for time to reveal the next frame. Predicts it. That's when déjà vu strikes. The universe is simply syncing with the version of you that already knows. But here's where it gets stranger. There are documented cases where déjà vu spreads. One person feels it, and another, standing nearby, says, "Wait, I felt that too." Shared déjà vu. It's rare but real. Two consciousnesses flickering in the same pattern, as if memory isn't confined to a single brain, but ripples outward, like waves in a field. Einstein once said time is not a river, it's a landscape, and maybe consciousness moves through it like wind, touching the same hills, whispering through the same trees over and over again. And when two winds meet, you feel it, that impossible familiarity. What if memory doesn't belong to you at all? What if you're just the lens, and the universe is the projector? Everything you recall, every love, every loss, every second of joy, might not be yours. It might be the cosmos remembering itself through you. A philosopher once said, "The universe is not made of atoms. It's made of stories." And maybe déjà vu is the moment a story reopens, a line you've read before, in a book you forgot you wrote. What if this life, all of it, is a rereading? And the reason it feels so real is because you already know the ending, you just don't remember yet. Think of someone you've lost. Someone you loved so deeply their absence changed the shape of your soul. Sometimes you dream of them, and for a moment, they're real again. You wake up, heart pounding, not sure what's real anymore. But what if that dream wasn't your brain replaying a memory, but the memory replaying you? What if every emotion you've ever felt, joy, grief, love, longing, is energy recorded somewhere beyond the brain, and every once in a while it echoes back? That echo is déjà vu, a reminder that nothing truly ends. It just repeats until it's understood. You see, in physics, there's something called the block universe, the idea that past, present, and future all coexist at once. Everything that ever was or will be is already here, a vast cosmic film strip. If that's true, then maybe déjà vu is when your consciousness skips to a different frame. A tiny edit, a shift in perspective, and suddenly you glimpse the same scene twice. Not a glitch, a reminder. That time doesn't move, you do. Maybe that's why déjà vu feels both eerie and comforting. Because deep down, something in you recognizes the truth. You've always been here, in one form or another, in one heartbeat or another. And every time you feel that pulse of familiarity, that shiver through your chest, it's not just memory, it's connection. So the next time you feel it, stop. Don't brush it away. Stand still. Breathe. Listen. You might just be standing at the edge of a memory that doesn't belong to your past, but to your soul. Tell me, when was the last time you felt déjà vu? Where were you? And who were you with? Write it below. Not as a comment, but as a memory that wants to be remembered again. Because maybe, just maybe, it's not you remembering something. The something remembering you. Maybe every moment you live isn't new at all. Maybe it's a return, a circle, a whisper of time folding in on itself. And when that strange feeling finds you again, that flash of recognition in a place you've never been, don't run from it. Smile, because it's life remembering itself through you. Tell me in the comments, from which city and what time are you watching this? Because maybe, just maybe, you've already been here before.